It's a beautiful day outside, birds are singing, flowers are blooming, and I'm more autistic than usual. I don't really have like a script or anything, I'm kind of just doing this blind. Originally I said I was gonna do like a review on this channel, but the more time passed, the more I'm like, yeah, that ship has kind of sailed. So instead, I'm gonna give my theory for how the next Sonic 4. So instead, I'm gonna give my theory on how Sonic 4 is gonna go. Or at least like the general plot summary. And yes, this will contain spoilers, so if you watch any further, that's on you. Frick you. I thought I might as well get my thoughts out there before somebody steals them and then is all like, look guys, my theory was correct. Like, no, I thought of this day one. I just, I was lazy and I didn't feel like making a video. Okay, so to start off, where could they possibly go from here? Because currently, as it stands, Eggman is dead. Robotnik's dead. He's full on dead, right? Like the arc exploded, not the arc. The Eclipse Cannon like exploded. It's gone. So how could they possibly bring him back? I mean, they didn't really even explain how he lived from Sonic 2. Because he fell out of a giant robot. He should have been, I just bumped my mic. He should have been crushed. He should have been dead. Well, we're never gonna get the answer to that. But how did he live an explosion? Because Jim Carrey said he'll totally come back, and it's seeming like he will be back for Sonic 4. So how could he possibly have lived? That's where I want to start with our first theory. It's relatively simple once I explain it. In the post-credit scene, we're greeted with the beautiful Metal Sonic, and oh my goodness, he looks exactly like the games. Like, he's a robot, so they didn't really have to change anything, and that is awesome. They gave him some extra details, that's to be expected, but he looks so good. And you know, Sonic punches him in the face, whatever, but then more of them show up. And then, like, before you know it, there's an entire army. I immediately had one thought, and it goes back to one of my favorite Sonic hyperfixations that I can't seem to get anybody else into. If you've read any of the Fleetway comics, you'd see that eventually when Metal Sonic is finally adapted, it's not just one Metal Sonic. It is at first, but eventually it becomes an entire army, and they are called the Brotherhood of Metallics. Keeping the Army of Metallics in mind, you have to remember that that was still an adaptation of Sonic CD. Now, what's one of the major components of Sonic CD? Time travel, right? Yeah, exactly. So, you take somebody, a character, from a game heavily involving time travel, and you plop them down into the present, while at the same time getting rid of the present's villain. Well, what happened to the present's villain? Now we got something from the future and the present is gone. Like, what's going on? Well, here's my theory. Metal Sonic is Eggman's creation, right? That's his child. But if Metal Sonic is from the future, and you know, Eggman's dead, like, how did that happen? In the games, what is one of the most controversial ways that time travel has been achieved? The Chaos Emeralds, right? You know, you use 2 Chaos Emeralds, you make a portal to the past, present, or wherever the plot says you need to go. Now, keeping the Chaos Emeralds teleportation through time in mind, what was the core of the Eclipse Cannon infused with? Chaos energy. When the Eclipse Cannon explodes, that Chaos energy causes Eggman to warp into the future. Why did Shadow not go? I don't know. I guess I didn't think of that if this is what they're going with. But Eggman, sent into the future, sees that there's no Sonic, and so he builds the Army of Metallics to take over the world. Keeping even more of this in mind, there were people that were mad that Amy was the post-credits character instead of someone like Silver. My question is, why can't it be both? Here's my next theory. Amy goes back in time to find Sonic to bring him to the future to defeat Robotnik again. However, Amy was sent by Silver in his apocalyptic future to try and find Sonic. So Silver is like Amy's mentor character, is what I like to think they might try to do. And you know, how will Knuckles and Tails and Shadow all play into this? I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. To summarize, because yeah, this is kind of short, I just wanted to get this out there. Eggman is sent into the future by the chaos energy around him imploding, causing time travel. In the future, Sonic no longer exists, so he creates an entire army of Metallics to take over the world, and living in this timeline, Silver wants to prevent it, so he sends Amy, his, I guess, apprentice, back in time to find Sonic and bring him back to the future to defeat Robotnik again. Does that make sense? I feel like that's a really solid theory. And just to squash anybody saying, oh, they wouldn't adapt the UK comics. Like, why would they do that? They literally used the concept of Amy having a hood, and they had an army of Metal Sonics. I don't think that's a big stretch. I think that's pretty solid. So, yeah, that's my theory. This wasn't meant to be very long. I'm not gonna edit this, like, very good at all. But, okay, I'm gonna go play Marvel Rivals or something. Bye.